Hey, this is Brent.
Hey, this is Jordan.
What's up? This is Matt.
Hey, this is Sean.
And this is the Digital Ascent Podcast.
All right, so this is some no goods, as you may guess from the title of Cisco data leak. A hacker named Intel Broker has allegedly captured themselves a bunch of goodies. They're saying that they've got source code associated with Microsoft, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Bank of America. They're saying they've got hard-coded authentication keys. They're saying that they've got API tokens. When they're talking about it on breach forums, they're saying things like, well, if Cisco's so good, then how come I came back after they kicked me out? So, this is, I would say it's embarrassing for Cisco. I mean, I guess on one hand, breaches happen. So, how mad can you really, there's some amount of how mad can you really get? But at the same time, premium security company loses control of a bunch of stuff. And, I guess there's some good stuff. They're saying it's only a dev tenant that they were working on. So no production stuff was taken. Let me rephrase. No production PHI or PI. I guess they wouldn't have a lot of PHI, but PII was taken. So I guess, small hooray there. I will say we'll include a link to the Cyfirma write-up of the data breach. It was very interesting to read through. I can't, say it's 100%, accurate because I'm just not that level of threat researcher, but very interesting write-up. I don't know. Did you guys see anything else about this in the news that was interesting?
Honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add other than what you said necessarily. I hadn't seen it until it was in my feed yesterday, maybe. I don't even remember when I looked at this, but I hadn't clicked into it. I should have known that you were going to pick that for for one of the topics to cover, because we've been covering so many leaks and breaches and all of that. Obviously, last episode was great for that, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I would say it's probably not going to stop anytime soon because, it makes money. And, something like this, you just got to remember, this is just some random dude out there or group of dudes, allegedly this is not a nation state. Maybe it is. I don't, who really knows at the end of the day. So, it's hard to imagine what they're doing.
Where's the light at the end of the tunnel for something like this, though? I feel like this is always going to be something.
It's only going to get worse, in my opinion.
The AI is going to save us, guys.
Shut up, man.
From this.
Before you know it's going to be AI versus AI. That you're going to have an AI EDR fighting AI ransomware.
It is AI versus AI, man. Right now, it's AI generated phishing emails and domains and all of that stuff, and it's AI machine learning trying to stop it and recognize it, man.
Well, see, and the fun part is
already
that
there.
AI can work at a pace that a regular human can't. So as it becomes more sophisticated, it gets more and more prevalent, and it never stops. So now you have to have something that can combat it, which would be AI. So you are correct. It will be AI versus AI, so that it can continuously fight over and over and over again until, bad things is, I'm not saying anytime soon, perhaps, but, the logical end to this is scary, in my opinion. We've had this conversation a million times, so...
Well, it's going to remain relevant for a long time. It
it's
only
part
gets
of the discussion
stronger
we
and
have
stronger.
for the other topic.
Yeah. It only gets stronger and stronger, more powerful, more capable. I don't know if anybody was actually listening into the intro, but that song was generated by AI. And not only just by AI, but simply telling it, hey, talk about this thing, talk about a Digital Ascent podcast hosted by these people where they talk about tech, blah, 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 blah. And I want it in a electronic synthwave style. And you hit go, and 10 seconds later, you have a fully written song that actually sounds pretty damn decent. And it really makes you realize or understand why the creative industry in general, and that's musicians, that's artists, that's everybody, why they are so up in arms about AI. Because why, for something like that, why am I going to go, like me, I'm not going to go to like a studio. I would go to like Fiverr for your small hobbyist musician or something. And I'd say, hey, how give you a couple $100 or something. Can you make a quick little tune for me or whatever? What's the need to do that now when I can? Well, heck, you get a few credits for free with the one service I used, but I went ahead and threw $10 at it, which gives you like 500 song generations. Which it's ridiculous. It's like, if I burn up 500 songs in a month, I'm doing some work. But I mean, it's fun to play with because you can feed it the same prompt multiple times, and it's just cool to see like what it comes up with every time. And then it'll actually break out the verses and the chorus and all the lyrics for you, so you can go in. If you want to make a few changes, you can make some changes to it, feed it back into the program, and let it sing the song all over again and generate a whole new version.
I have a question for you regarding that. So when you're making the song, can you choose key? Can you choose phrasing? Can you get that granular, or is it pretty basic as in
not that I've seen so far, but I've not played with all the tools that they have yet.
Sure.
The primary one was like you can define like a chorus, verse, bridge, all that good stuff.
Gotcha.
Almost in like, it's almost like syntax, like coding syntax,
Sure.
the way they've got it laid out. But it interprets it like that, and it'll sing the parts, and it's pretty wild. It's really neat.
I wonder if you could be specific with the music theory language in order to generate what you're looking for. So
Maybe.
You could say, I want it in the key of C minor. I want it to have a Phrygian scale and the chorus, and then say, okay, here we go, and then tweak it from there. I may play with that just to see, because what is interesting with that is as a musician, you could theoretically use it to start as a bass and then move over to, okay, now I have my bass, I can tweak it the way I want and not necessarily finish with AI, but you could lay a foundation with it.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of ways to do it. It's pretty interesting. I didn't think about that application.
It's pretty powerful, yeah. It's really neat. This particular one's called Suno. I believe is how you pronounce it, SUNO, suno.com. Like $10 for their basic membership. Like I said, you do get some free credits, which allows you to generate roughly, I think, like 5 songs. And the other cool thing about it is when you click generate on it, it actually generates 2 versions of the song by default, but it only burns 10 credits. So it's 1 generation per 10 credits, but you're actually getting 2 songs produced from that, I guess, just so you have some variation there. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed. We'll have to discuss this and maybe poll it out in the Discord. But it'd be kind of interesting to gather up some of these tools. Suno would be a great one. The current iteration of ChatGPT, and maybe some other things I'm not thinking about, especially maybe some of the image generation ones, and have an entire stream. In this case, we wouldn't necessarily make this a podcast episode, but have an entire stream where we're just flexing the tools, seeing what we can do with the tools on stream. And if we have anybody in chat, at that time, we can leverage input from the chat as well. I think that'd be kind of a cool stream to see what we can actually pull off with it. Maybe we set some sort of goal, some sort of end product of like, I don't know, by end of stream, we make like some type of video slideshow thing, but only using AI.
You could do like storytelling voiceover with AI generated images with a OST in the background generated from it.
Yeah.
Like just have like a minute clip of like, here's a short little story or whatever. You could do it that way. Yeah, that's an interesting concept.
This being a topic we always end up landing on because it is affecting every industry. Every time I turn around, I feel like almost every month when we get together to talk about whatever the case is, there's something new in that field. It's progressed in one way or another.
It's taking leaps and bounds.
It is.
Like every time you see the new iteration, it's quick. So it's
in the grand scheme of things, yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, almost in a little bit of a scary way, but yeah. Anyways, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent with that, but it's still relatable because I think cybersecurity and all of that, I think the next major evolution in that on both sides of that equation, both the malicious actor side of it and the I'm trying to protect my assets, I'm trying to protect my company side of it, are going to be heavily influenced by AI as soon as they lock
look at
that
all
in.
of the EDR tools now.
Oh yeah,
There's already baked in AI, and like I said earlier, you as a human cannot react fast enough to some of the stuff that's coming out, and so they have to have something that's going to try and counter it at the same pace. I mean, I don't think it can, but humans sure are going to do it. So not at any sort of successful rate that could match it. So I do think that it's going to become ever more prevalent in the sphere.
I don't know what I put for topic 2, so we're getting ready to find out. I forgot. The Microsoft phishing fishers. I love this.
Cool. Yeah. So this is cool. Sean asked about like a little bit of light, and you guys were just talking about how can AI be used, and for me this is perfect. How else do you populate a tenant with like 20,000 accounts?
It's a good segue.
Real data. You wish into your little AI genie portal, or whatever. You rub your little AI genie lamp and you wish for a tenant. And I guess I'm kind of I'm joking here, but I assume Microsoft has leveraged that. And that's how they've created these tenants out there, and that are just honeypots. They're massive. Well, they're big. It's 20,000 users. So, I mean, it's not massive, but it's still pretty darn big. And it's populated with real data. They are saying that they are losing control, quote unquote, losing control of 400 users per day. Because they set up user accounts without MFA, that say that people are getting, that attackers are getting lost in there and messing around for as long as 30 days before they realize that it's fake and that there's nothing here and that there's no money to be had at all. And they said they're getting quite a bit of intel out of it. They're getting IP addresses, indicators of compromise, behavioral patterns, things like that. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. At least people are trying. My hope is that they use all that knowledge to make their product suite better, or even better, they share it with the rest of the industry, because cybersecurity is a team sport.
Yeah, but you can't make money doing that.
I was gonna say I don't know about that comment, but I do know about the first one. They'll definitely make their suite better because it benefits them.
I know.
They'll use it as a competitive edge for whatever product that they release, and then say either come to us or you won't have the newest shiny thing. That's how they're gonna play that. There's no other way.
I know.
Maybe. I mean,
but I want it. But I want them to.
Well, I want a toilet made of solid gold, Matt, but I don't think that's in the cards.
Do you? I just feel like it'd be so cold.
I'd love
It'd be really
to
heavy
see,
too.
Really heavy.
It would be really heavy. I'd love to see this in action, like Microsoft's perspective of this taking place.
That would be really
It'd be
cool.
really neat, because they're saying 5% of the cases is how often this happens, and it starts logging the threat actors' tactics, techniques, procedures, all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, I do. Unfortunately, I do think this is driven more by we have to protect our product. So this is a good way to do it. And it's a great display of like effort, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it, it puts them in the limelight, and then you're like, oh, wow, Microsoft's making all these, investments in cybersecurity. They're doing this. They're literally honeypotting phishers and malicious actors into the tenant so they can make the tenants more secure. I'm going to go with that product, because I don't hear about AWS doing this. I don't hear about anybody else doing this. Anyways.
Yeah, I'll just throw out there, you also don't hear about AWS losing control of like 60,000 emails of, U.S. diplomatic emails for Southeast Asian diplomats in America, right? So, Microsoft has very publicly multiple times promised to do better And they've even been like poked and prodded to release law, like to improve like their free logging. So, I'm really glad to see them taking steps to make good on their promise. They honestly, Microsoft scares me. They have so much control, and I don't know. I would love. It's just worrisome.
Yeah.
What's the alternative?
No, I mean, you give somebody else like Google all the control, and then that becomes worrisome instead.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, maybe it's just whatever. I don't want to get into a long thing about why
You don't want to go down the road of nihilism tonight, eh?
No, it's not that. No, it's that I'll spend a lot of time talking about how hard it is for a private company to defend against a nation state actor, and how like realistic those goals are, even a super corp like megacorp like Microsoft. So, because they have shareholders, and I guess you could argue that a government doesn't have shareholders in that same way. So
yeah, well,
yeah, not in that same way. Not in that same way.
He could fix it. He knows everything.
See, here we go. We're about ready to start ranting about
/S.
this. Yeah.
All right, topic 3.
Right. Topic 3. Qualcomm and Google have a partnership bringing AI to the future of driving. I actually don't know anything about this one.
This is a quick one, and this was meant to be a segue into the self-driving car topic that we wanted to get into with Sean. I know Sean had some input. Jordan had some input. The specific piece here, this Qualcomm and Google teaming up. The only thing that they're basing this announcement off of is that Qualcomm literally posted a article about a multi-year strategic collaboration with Google to deliver generative AI digital cockpit solutions. So they're using a lot of jargon, and but the question right now is it sounds like they're going to produce essentially a standardized framework for digital cockpits and software-defined vehicles. But they're like, what cockpits, what cars, like what manufacturers and makers are actually like getting behind this. So there's a lot of detail on the table, left on the table with this one, but it's yet another one of those partnerships where it's like you wonder what can come of it. Qualcomm's been doing a lot of work in the silicon field, obviously, for a long time, but they've got their feet in a lot of different pools as it is, and we already know where Google stands on that sort of thing. But Sean, I know you had a personal experience with this that you wanted to share.
Not so much personal. I didn't get in one.
Oh, okay. Okay. I misunderstood then.
Yeah. We saw them when we went out to Arizona, and it was unsettling to see people, or lack thereof, driving around. So,
they're very popular.
They're very popular. Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere.
Popular.
I got off at the airport, and I was, in the car, and I was looking around, and I was going, there's a lot of these things, almost at every stoplight, pretty much everywhere. And so I started doing some research, and it's pretty interesting because, Tesla also has its product, and the differences between them are pretty pointed, but the outcomes are drastically different based on what I've looked at. So Waymo is automated driving, just like Tesla, right? But the autonomous driving versus the fully self-driving comes in 2 different packages. So Waymo is like LiDAR. It's got all kinds of like sensors. It's got like the most amount of sensors on a vehicle that you can possibly have.
You can see these things hanging off of the car. Like that's how you identify these cars in traffic.
They've got this big whirly thing on the top of them.
It looks like the DeLorean.
It looks like, or like something out of the Ghostbusters, right? Like there's just crap hanging.
I'm about it.
Yeah. You should look up a picture. They're actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pulling something up right now.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. And as far as stats go, like it's pretty good. The arguments between them, though, let's see, technological situation for them is they've got sensor suite, LiDAR, radar, cameras, and they operate at SAE level 4 autonomy. So that means that they can function without human intervention in specific geo-fenced areas. So that's the difference between yeah, complete, like there's no driver, there's no input.
No, and I just to like paint the picture for everybody, this is a service like Uber that is specific to certain cities that are big enough that are willing to order the fleets. And it is a fleet of cars. There's not a street that you could go down the closer to Central Phoenix that you could get that you're not going to see these cars.
Yeah.
So you just order them off of an app. They pull up, personalize the experience for you, a little tablet on the back. Hello, whatever your name is, blah, 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 blah. And they're completely self-driving. No intervention needed. I know that's exactly what Sean just said, but it's pretty trippy to like be driving down the street and see nobody.
You look to your left and you see this car pull up and there's nobody in there driving like by the wheel. It's so really unsettling. So the difference between them and Tesla is that Tesla is available globally. So you can do it anywhere because it's using their fully self-driving system, which is vision based. So it doesn't rely on LiDAR. So it doesn't have to be geo-blocked, so you can do it anywhere. The problem is it's at SAE level 2. And there's been a lot of accidents, and there's been a lot of problems with it. Now, there's multiple different arguments about which one is better, and most people land on Waymo for the reason that the crash rate's lower and their investment stake is higher because Tesla can introduce, because of the fully self-driving, there's still some manual input required, which means that there's lack of liability that they can kind of scoot around with that approach. Whereas Waymo is, if our car gets in a wreck, we are liable. So there's a lot more at stake. Now, there's also the argument of, well, it's geo-fenced, it's only in Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and they're trying to push it into, Austin, Texas. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine, but I'd rather not die while I'm in your automated vehicle rather than be able to take a 12-hour road trip and do it that way, because I'd rather just fly. So again, there's a bunch of different arguments for it. I've not ridden in either, so I can't personally speak to it, but it is really, really cool. And it's another instance where automation is becoming ever more prevalent. There was, a time where that was a joke. Or like you remember iRobot, where he's sitting in the car and the thing's driving. He's like, I like to drive manual, right? So, but here we are, and it's not that far away. So it just kind of creeped me out, if I'm being honest. Like I don't know if I would ever do it. We were having this discussion while I was in Phoenix. I was visiting Jordy, and it was unsettling. I don't know how I feel about it. So I'd be curious to like hear your guys' thoughts on the concept and whether or not you would actually do it.
I'd jump in one.
Yeah, I want to. I just don't. I've not had the time. But also, I drive. I'm not a big social drinker. If I need to go somewhere in Phoenix, I have my car. But then because my wife also drives, so we can lean on each other. So that's the other. Just finding a use case for it. Maybe a date night would probably be. I guess I could see that. Going out in style. They take me to the bar, Jeeves. Type stuff. That's. Matt, how are you feeling over there about full self-driving vehicles?
Well, let's see. I was in a Tesla within like the past 6 months with the full self-driving suite, and it tried to kill a motorcyclist. So I think that it probably would have severely hurt them if my buddy had not grabbed the wheel. So I'm gonna say maybe
of the things that I heard when I was researching is
I just want to. Waymo is not Tesla. That's
yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe the SA2 or whatever isn't really sufficient to be let off the leash yet, but 4 is twice as good as 2, right?
Simple math. Simple math.
I've only killed half the motorcyclists. I don't
It's a
really
50%
know.
reduction in people dying. Is what that
Exactly.
means. Basic math. That's a joke, by the way. I'm saying that officially.
Yeah,
That's not
all of
actual
these are
statistics.
jokes. Look, I don't know anything about these at all. The sensors make me feel safe. I guess that's kind of my initial feel.
Now, I will
Feeling.
say, as far as scalability is concerned, on average, they calculated, and this is a guesstimate, is that one individual Waymo car is about 50K. So that compared to the gigantic fleet of Teslas.
Yeah, I guess my last thought is that wouldn't it be nice to get in the car and just not have any awkward conversation? You know, I mean, the other
I wish
side of it
Waymos
is
were in Nashville. I'd use
No.
them every single time that I went out there.
the other side of it is that, like, my guess is that 100% of your conversations and whatever are recorded in that thing, and you know, I don't know. Like, I don't know
Well,
what conversations
and
I would be
video, I'm
having that
sure.
I don't want to be
Yeah.
recorded. But you know, I
But
guess
Uber
I'm of the
drivers do
mindset.
that as well.
Not
Now,
all of them.
Yeah, that's
all of them,
true.
but I mean,
not
some
all
of
of
them
them.
do.
I don't know, man. People are way more mindful when there's another person in the car than when it's just an empty seat waiting for nobody to be there. So, I don't know. It feels a little like, where's my Black Mirror episode?
Have you
But
guys
I don't know.
seen the Amazon show Upload?
No.
That's unfortunate. It's a good show. However, not to give too much away, but like literally the first episode, and this brings us to the extra little bit of this topic before we move on, because we focus on cybersecurity a lot. How do we feel about the cybersecurity of something like that? Because in the show,
Oh, sure.
he's riding in a self-driving car, and it gets hacked, and it rams into the back of something and kills him. That's a totally valid concern, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Right?
200%.
Passed already
Although
with
my self-driving car
non-autonomous
was
cars.
running CrowdStrike for EDR, and it blue screens.
Yeah, your car blue screens in the middle of an intersection. Could you imagine?
Like really, I don't know. It worries me, man. Where it's so tied together like that, because those particular cars, they're not really made to like easily jump into the seat and take control, right? Like these things are rigged up substantially.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Right. So it's
There's a bunch
like,
of
all right,
crap in
well,
your
And
way.
actually, you know,
What's
I'm
my
not
option?
sure because I feel like, you know, they've had a presence for a while. They weren't always completely self-driving. For a while, they would literally hire people to just sit in the front seat. You're not doing anything else but intervening if. You know,
yeah, I
as
think
Matt
they
said.
had to for legal reasons because
Yeah.
none of the laws were in place for that sort of stuff yet.
So yeah, they're just a random. I got to assume that a human has got to be able to take control if that's needed.
But with split-second reaction time, could you hop in the front and hit the brake and jerk the? You probably jerk the steering wheel.
But
jump
why
hard
don't you
enough.
just sit in the driver's seat?
I don't know if they let you. Do they?
That's a good
What
question. I don't
does
know.
it just have an empty? I mean, there's a steering wheel and stuff there, right? What are they gonna do? Tell you to get out of the seat?
I feel like the last one I saw had a bunch of equipment rigged up around the console.
Absolutely.
And maybe it was
Yeah.
an early Waymo version,
on the
but I don't
console.
know.
Okay. And also, I just wanted to throw out. Brent mentioned something about Google earlier. Waymo is owned by Google. If that was said already, then I apologize for.
It wasn't.
repeating
It was a good
information.
point
Okay,
because I
good.
forgot to mention. I said Tesla, but I didn't say who Waymo.
I don't
was.
know that I knew that. That's a good call out.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know that I knew that they were owned by. I remember seeing a very early iteration of this, like on a YouTube short or something, where someone was like, "Check this out, watch me," and they got in the car and it had the tablets like you were talking about. You know, welcome to the car. Here's your route. Blah 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 blah.
Brent, you reminded me of another good point about this, and
Okay.
then we can end. I suppose not to cut you off, but
No, go absolutely.
one of the other differences is that because it uses lidar, it has to use HD maps, and so they have to consistently update those maps with a bunch of like information that's tied inside of them for those maps. That's why they're geo locked, right? So they have to be within a certain area, and then when things change, you have to upload a new one. And that was the other thing that, you know, again, Tesla doesn't have to do because it's all vision based. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, two different
Certainly
approaches.
a different approach.
Mm-hmm. one more reliable than the other, I think, as of right now.
Yeah, I think we're a little ways away from something that's going to be ultra reliable. I mean, hell, humans can't even focus long enough on the road to stay completely focused. You know, that's a huge issue. But I mean, even if you're fully focused on it, one, there's reaction time factors. I don't know. I feel like making that split second decision, but not only the reactionary side of it, but the adaptability side of it. You know, okay, I've got all these maps and all these variables telling me that this is a path I can go down. However, today specifically, maybe not even today specifically, maybe for this hour, there is some utility company blocking this road off in a very specific way. How do you write the code to like very specifically adapt to
And it's funny that
the
you
man
mentioned
waving the
that.
flag down the road telling you to come on down, you know, and it's a one lane of traffic sort of deal, or I don't know. I'm
So
throwing out random stuff. But
No, you're absolutely correct. So like the amount of code that's in the Waymo is way more significant than Tesla, and they even tout it at Tesla that it's more lean or it's leaner than Waymo. So it is like, okay, how do you adjust for variables? And that's one of the things that Tesla's trying to do is say, well, we don't need like 50 something sensors. We need cameras and then, you know, learning AI that can adjust appropriately as needed. But again, comes down to the reliability. So
yeah, no, I get the approach. I mean, I'd say the better approach would be the feed as much imagery as you can to AI that's capable of interpreting it, and you have trained that model on every bit of road, like 10 years worth of
that's what they're
dash
doing
cam
right now.
footage, traffic cam footage, you know what I mean? Like all this data, and it just knows every single scenario that it could possibly run into in terms of, you know, stuff on the road. I don't know. We could talk about that all day. AI is a huge one, man. There's so many, it's got a lot of potential, but it also has a lot of potential pitfalls, I think. And a lot of
double-edged sword.
A lot of pitfalls that can hurt people, kill people. We got to be careful, right? Yeah, we have to be careful. I say we as if I have any controlling stake in this, but
Digital Ascent has strong ties to the AI market.
yeah, our intro song is made by AI. We have a lot of stake in this. All right, moving on to I believe our last topic, and it is fitness goal update. How are we doing with these fitness goals? Let's get a reminder. Who wants to run through here? Well, actually, I guess Matt posted it, so we'll each
let Matt run
individual
through it.
stuff here.
All right. So on episode 0018, a year ago, so I think it aired November 1st, we aired an episode about some fitness, you know, how to, you know, stay healthy and, you know, maybe take better care of yourself if you're looking into doing that, things like that. And then we set some goals out for ourselves to, you know, get healthier. Hey, Marla, how's it going?
Hi, Marla.
She's just blasting you.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, Marla.
I'm rendered at 270p or 260p or whatever tonight. 240. I don't even know what it is. It's too low. I guess it's 240. Whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's terrible. I know it's terrible.
It's like Tamagotchi resolution.
It's a little better than that.
Matrix.
No, it's
LCD
bad.
matrix screen.
I don't understand. Hey, look, I want to put Linux on this laptop, and then I want to test this out, see if it works. I want to see if we can keep this laptop still in service. All right, where were we? Back out in the pixels things. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't think it's going to take you very long. Unfortunately, I don't know. Whatever. Back on topic. All right. So let's just go around, you know, the table or whatever and talk about how we did. So Sean, get back to working out 3 days a week minimum. How'd you do, buddy?
I got sick, and then I got busy, and then I had a kid. So
Yeah. Are you working out at all? No?
not at the moment, though.
Okay.
I am, now that I'm done vacationing and gotten somewhat stable with the kiddo, my goal is the same. Basically, it's just to get that consistency of at least 3 times a week.
There we go. We're gonna mark you down for that goal then.
Yep.
I love how
And
kind of like
there you
pseudo aggressive that was to start with. Sean's side.
Look, man,
I got sick. I was busy at work and I had a kid. I was like, okay, Sean, everything's cool, man.
Yeah.
He saved it in the end, though. He saved it in the end.
Yeah, he saved it in the end. He got friendlier in the end.
Yeah.
Brent?
It's not that any of the only one of those things was truly bad, and it was getting sick. Getting sick always derails me because
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand that.
Golly, it's like 2 weeks of not doing anything, and then all of a sudden you're like, now I'm really busy, and then all of a sudden kid comes along, and you're like, my routine's now jacked up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Mine was down from 260 pounds to 240 pounds over the next 6 to 12 months. I did not hit that, first of all, so I'll state that first. For a refresher on the last time that we talked about this, I've always struggled getting below 265, 270. So I'd say my goal is probably the same for this next 6 to 12 months. The big factor that I've added in this is I've made an investment in a compounded semaglutide medicine through a company that it's an injectable. It's like all these other ones that you've heard about, Wegovy and Mounjaro and the Ozempic and all that crap, but not those things and not that amount of money. And I'm starting to see very recently some results.
So mine was get myself between 190 and 200 pounds by April. So that was like about 6 months, and maintain that through 2024. I also was not successful in my goal. I did have several wins throughout the year. I went backpacking for 3 days. I did 40 miles in the Smokies, and I did not feel terrible during it or afterwards. So
There you go.
I feel like I could have gone longer, both, each day, and I feel like I could have gone more days. So, I'm feeling pretty good. When we made these goals, I was just above 220, I think. Maybe I was at like 230. Right now, I haven't weighed myself in several days because I haven't been taking good care of myself. But I think I'm around the 220 mark, give or take 5 pounds. I am, like, this wasn't on my list, but, I'm getting to the gym like 5 days a week at this point.
There you go.
So
That's awesome.
yeah. So, I didn't hit my goal, but I don't feel bad about it because I did a bunch of other things that are just fine, right? Like doing that hike and not feeling gassed afterwards was awesome. Like really, really freaking dope. And it made me really kind of reevaluate how important is that weight goal anyways. And so I think I'm going to do I'm going to change my goals. I'm going to try to get between 200 and 210. I did get down to like 206 at one point, and I felt really good there. I like that. So I'm going to try to get down between 200 and 210 and maintain that. And then something about staying in the gym, probably, an average of 3 days a week, and, just continue to grow muscle. Maybe next year I'll be like familiar enough that I'll have some actual weight goals that I want to hit in terms of like I want to bench this or curl that. So there we go. That's me. Sean? No, I'm sorry, Jordy. Yours was stay under 240.
It'll be the same answer.
Okay. Sean, how did you do? Jordy, you had stay under 240 and between 14 to 16% body fat.
All right, so goal number 1 is easy. About 99.9% positive that I'm under 240. Last time I weighed myself was about a week and a half ago, and I've been really strict on a diet and macros over the last 15 days or so, with the exception of Sean coming over last weekend. I mean, we had to take him out. You know what I mean? He had to see the sights. He had to get the hole in the wall Mexican food. But I am very. I almost want to guarantee that there's no way that 2 days, you know what I mean, jacked me up that much. You know, which is I think is a great. I'll just be honest. Option number 2 or goal number 2, we'll throw that as a fail, but not because, you know, I put on a bunch of fat. Like that's not. I'm just let me break it down real quick before y'all jump down my throat. Okay, not everybody at once. See what happened is.
Oh, what happened?
You chose to start it that way.
See what happened was, I changed the method of tracking. All right, before I was on a manual. I was tracking manually with tape and then, you know, the analog weight and then doing the calculations themselves. But about 6 months ago, I was like, hey, why don't I just invest in a scale that does it all? All right. So when I tell y'all, all right, that I take the numbers that I tracked off the tape method and then I step my big ass on a scale for the first time. All right. Body fat that I track via calipers and, you know, tape measurer, 2 different methods. All right. Tape measure comes in, you know, last year it was coming in at about 17 to 18%, and calipers were coming in at like 20%. All right. So a little bit of a difference. Makes sense. Calipers are not as accurate. Okay. Makes sense. When I hop my big ass on the scale 6 months later, I've not gained any weight at this time. I've remained in about the same window over the last year. All right. I step on the scale says 30%. All right. So I say, big fella, did I lose 10 pounds of muscle and then put on 10 pounds of fat? So I'm gonna count it as a fail because I don't think the data that I tracked first or initially was accurate. And if I'm being honest, I was so mad when I stepped on the scale 6 months ago, I stopped tracking body fat. That's how mad I was. All right. Even though logically I could look back and be like, dude, there's no way that's true. Do you know what I'm saying?
Jordy, I got a friend of mine who he goes and sees a nutritionist, and the nutritionist measured him at like, I don't know, 20%, 18% body fat. And he stepped on, like, we go to the same, like, it's a buddy who I go to the gym with. And he went on, like, and hopped on the fancy scale that costs like $3,000.
Oh, hell.
Right?
Look, mine ain't.
And
golly.
yeah. And guess what it said? It said 27%. So like, there is no way that he is 27% because, you know, he started, you know, I started being like, well, what body fat percent am I? So I started looking up pictures of people and their percent. And I, you know, and I went and I got a scale with the body fat percent. And I, you know, so then I went and I looked at pictures and I was like, well, does that look like me or not? And so like, I have an idea of what like that dude's body fat percent is, and it is not 27%.
I'm saying, look, man, I'm jacked. This is
Yeah,
large. I'm jacked.
Yours is
okay?
not. I can tell you from
I'm not
like
30%.
You're not.
But that's
30%
what the scale tells
body
me.
fat,
There's a reason.
but it lies
I have body
to you.
dysmorphia. All right.
Well,
and it's the scale.
the scale is trash equipment. Don't listen to it.
The weight though comes in pretty accurate, like that.
Yeah, well, sure.
That's
Way
fine.
way freaking easier to measure than body fat percentage. Just
I
like
know, but my dumb,
trying to
simple
figure
mind-
out how quickly the electrical signals get from one foot to the other foot by passing through your crotch and stuff, bro.
Now, the good thing here is that by the time this
not
goes
good.
live, all right, I have a weigh-in tomorrow. We're recording this on the 23rd, all right? Or I mean, it's already live. Damn it. I keep forgetting we're not. It's not like digital ascent.
Jordy forgot we weren't live.
Damn.
What have you
All
been
right.
saying? How
That's
bad
all
has
right.
it been?
But by the time the recording comes out, though, I have a weigh-in tomorrow, and I promise you, I'll do my tape method, and if I'm not under 18%, y'all will not see me for another recording. That'll be the end of me.
That's
Bye-bye.
not good.
All right.
You can fix that though.
I'll dissipate. Matt, I put a lot of hard work in over the last year.
We'll
and
just
so
put him
if
in
I'm
AI.
not
We have enough audio.
We'll feed them. We'll
make
feed
an
the
AI,
AI
Jordy.
all the previous videos and recordings and say, "Be this fourth guy."
I walked right into that, didn't I? That's with the
Little
way.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a crazy concept. What if we actually did it and then made an episode with just AI? Say, all right, Sean, talk about this topic. All right, Matt, talk about this topic, and then see what it does.
Hey, what's up, Surefire? Surefire raiding with the party of 4. Hey, we see you.
Hey,
We see you out here.
how's it
We see
going,
you out here,
folks?
Surefire. What's up, bro? I think I would like that. I could watch from the sidelines and interact with myself. You know what I mean?
You could be your own best friend.
I'd be my own best man. Wouldn't that be nice? I'd hate myself. Never mind. That wouldn't.
Well, over there's Surefire's opinion.
Yeah, he said.
No. Well, hey, Jordy, you didn't give us a goal. What's your goal, Doc?
All right. So over the last couple of weeks, I actually just started a new workout regimen on Sunday, and it has whooped my ass. Oh, it is terrible. But it's validating because I can work through it. I'm strong. I could do it. All right. But I'm at a point where I think I'm ready to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? Just I need to start sculpting, the Michelangelo, and get my granite and my little hammer and my little chisel, and we're going at it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna be doing over the next 6 months. We're gonna get up in here, all right, like Leonardo da Vinci. We're gonna make some art. We're gonna sculpt. And we're gonna look good. So this time next year, I'd like to be 20 pounds lighter, all right, and assuming that I did not gain fat over the next year, I would like to be within 10 to 14% body fat. Actually, I'm gonna say 12 to 14%. I've done that before. That's doable, and I won't want to hate myself. You know what I mean? So I think that's what I'm gonna say. 220,
That's gonna be
12 to
trim.
14%. That's what I want to be at.
It's going to be very, very trim.
And I'm gonna look good too. It's gonna be worth it.
Oh no!
And then
That's
you'll
my
have
goal,
a kid.
I love it. Cool.
No, it's good.
Very, very cool. So those are some good goals. Just running back through them. Sean, you're supposed to get out and work out 3 days a week.
Minimum.
Brent, you're trying to get yourself down to 260 to 240. I'm going to try and, drop 10, 15 pounds, 10, 20 pounds, and, keep on going to the gym. I'm going to add an addendum. I would like to be able to see if I can run 3 miles in 30 minutes.
It's a tall order, Matt.
Not that.
You can do it.
Matt gonna be
I know you
looking
can.
like Forrest Gump.
Heard that.
Man, I'm not that. I'm not that far off. I did 3 miles in 36 today, and I did it on my street where there's a bunch of uphill, downhill, hot weather stuff like that. I'm pretty confident that I can definitely do 2 miles in 20 minutes on the treadmill right now.
I can help train Matt on time increases if that's something that you're interested in. Just hit me up after or later, and we can talk about it.
Man, honestly, I assume if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'll
You are absolutely correct.
George's
You're
not shaking his head.
No. You're correct. You're correct. You run enough, and eventually, you know what I mean. You speed up.
Yeah,
but there is a
I mean,
technique,
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I need to move the needle that much. I mean.
All right, Matt. Is this that important of a goal then? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe
He's
not.
got
I just gotta
he's got
trim.
those
I
I'd be
magic
willing to
shoes.
train in ways you've never trained before to hit the goals you've never achieved, Matt. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, man, I'm just gonna grind. It's fine. We'll see where it goes.
But he's
Maybe
not
I'll
an
hit you up 6 months from now when I haven't made any progress and I'm still doing 12-minute miles.
I'm going to grind these potato chips between my teeth.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Oh, that's
something you
funny.
can do.
That is funny.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Digital Ascent podcast. Check us out at digitalascent.tech and join us on Discord. Until next time, take care.